right, welcome back in. Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. We are live on location today in Buffalo as we watch the Princeton Tigers go down yesterday, unfortunately, to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and we're still covering Villanova as they got a first-round victory last night and trying to defend their national championship crown. And now joining us, this guy had a really good season last year. They were a fun story the year before as going to the NCAA Tournament. That's the head coach of Yale in James Jones, who's kind enough to hop on board with us right now on the Zach Gelb Show. Coach Jones, Zach Gelb, appreciate a few minutes, and how are you?
I'm great, Zach, great.
Well, we appreciate you coming on today. And first off, I know the Ivy League is very proud of what Princeton was able to do yesterday. Just how about how Princeton represented the Ivy?
Well, it was a great job. I mean, you know, if you take a look at all the scores around the country over the last couple of days, they've all been pretty close, and it just shows you, you know, how close our league is to playing with everybody else. You know, they play Notre Dame. They finished third in the ACC, and they're right there with them neck and neck and really have a shot to win. And if I'm, Mitch Henderson and I got Devin Kennedy with a shot to win the game, I'm feeling great about it.
That shot, I know that you feel great about it, and I agree with you as well, but some people are being critical of it because of the time and the situation, being down a point and then settling for a three. Take us through a little bit more from a coaching perspective why that was actually a good shot yesterday.
Well, if you were any of those people that you're talking about, if they would have coached against Devin Kennedy and watched him go for 7 out of 8 threes in your own gym, you might be thinking a different thought. That shot for him is as good or as easy as any shot is for most guys. It's wide open. He had a great look at it. Amir Bell dribbled the ball, and he got kind of double-teamed, and it was a great look. And, again, I take it 10 times out of 10 or would want him to take it 10 times out of 10 if I was coaching him.
And you know how the NCAA tournament works. Just sometimes if your shot doesn't fall, then you're on the outside looking in for the next round. Yesterday, that was the story with Princeton. They're a good three-point shooting team, but the shots just weren't falling yesterday. An abysmal 8 of 31 from behind the arc. What did you notice Notre Dame do so well up against the Tigers defensively from three?
Well, I just thought guys were a little tight. The first time you get into that situation, you even look at the first play of the game, and Cook has a wide open layup that he misses it, and I think it took him some time to get his sea legs underneath him. I didn't think there was anything in particular that Notre Dame did exceptionally well to limit their attempts or limit the looks that they got. And if you look at it, they had some wide open opportunities that just didn't go down, and that's going to happen from time to time, especially with the pressure of the game.
We've been following Princeton all year long. We saw them play your squad in the Ivy League championship as we're talking to the head coach of Yale in James Jones. Coach, did you like the inaugural Ivy League tournament?
Well, I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. I thought that, the teams that were able to make it, having only 4 teams involved in it, added, a little bit of a zing to it and made you feel really good about making it as opposed to everybody making it. So I thought that was really good. I thought they did a top-notch job down in Philadelphia handling it. And, it added to it. I think one of the reasons why Princeton got a 12 seed was because of winning the last 2 games in that tournament to boost their win total a little bit, to give them a little bit of an edge and play a Notre Dame team, which they certainly had a chance to beat.
And when you break from tradition a little bit, there's always going to be the naysayers that don't like it. I've talked to a few former coaches last week that called the idea of an Ivy League tournament a joke. What do you say to the people that are not proponents of the Ivy League tournament?
Well, I find it hard to believe that any coach in the league that would actually say that. And, it's just a wonderful thing for our league to have an opportunity to put us on a stage where we haven't been. Last week, I can't tell you how many people actually saw us play on the 2 televised games and get a chance to root for Yale all over around the country and to add our brand nationally. And I think that's what's really important for us to have an opportunity to do that. And, with coaches that would say that, I mean, what we're fighting for and adding excitement and March Madness to, the 4 schools that were a part of it. And if you look at our league, the way it went down, the last game of the season when Penn beat Harvard to make it to the Final Four of our league was exceptional. And I just think it adds to it and makes all the games, really important. I think the last weekend of the game, every game mattered except for one team. So that being said, it's added to our league and made it more competitive in a lot of ways and better in a lot of ways.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite moments from the press conferences at the Palestra was after the game in your championship game where you called Miles Stevens the silent assassin. With that player and Miles Stevens, we know he's a really good one and he's going to hopefully dominate the Ivy for the next 2 years. What do you like so much about Miles Stevens' game?
Well, I'm not hoping that Miles Stevens dominates the Ivy League for the next 4 years. Why would I hope that?
I'm not saying you did. We're hoping for it.
Oh, you guys are hoping that Miles Stevens. Well, you go right ahead and hope. But the thing about Miles is he's so versatile. He can beat you in so many different ways. They were running shots for him. They run like a shuffle single for him to come off and shoot threes, and that's just not something that he was even thinking about doing last year. So he's developed his game from outside. He's really athletic. He can take guys down on the post and shoot over top of you, or he can drive around you or slash to the basket. So he has a very versatile game, very good player. He's going to be really good for the next 2 years, and we just hope that we can contain him from our point of view.
Coach, when you look back at your run last year when you guys beat Baylor, what's like the best part about that when you look back at that memory from a year ago?
Well, the best part of it is all the people that are around it. When I look at that game and I see the fans in the stands and I see my wife and my son and my sister and my father and they were on national television cheering us on. And then as I look at the players that were there, the Nick Victors, the Brandon Sherrods, the Justin Sears of the world, and Makai Mason, who was a part of it last year and didn't have a chance to play this year, those things bring smiles to my face, the chemistry that we had and how much fun it was to go out and do what we knew that we were capable of doing.
And I know you guys didn't get back to the NCAA tournament, but clearly you were one game away from doing so when you lost in the Ivy League championship. Does experiences like that last year just change the feel of a team going into the next year? How much does that experience of getting to the NCAA tournament just help you in the next year?
Well, it just gives you confidence. I mean, it makes you feel like you're right there. And I think that even though we lost the bulk of our team from a year ago, and even though Makai Mason, our best player and the candidate for the player of the year, was out, it gave us great confidence. And we go into our first game of the year, even with all those losses, and we beat a Washington team. So on their home floor. So it gives you a great deal of confidence and makes you feel good about who you are.
And the Ivy has been able to produce teams in this NCAA tournament going back many, many years when Mitch Henderson was playing. They beat UCLA. And then in recent years, you've seen Cornell, you've seen Harvard, you've seen Yale, but still it's a one-bid league. How do you guys continue to try to earn your respect in NCAA basketball when it comes to the NCAA tournament?
Well, so you think about our tournament that we have right now. Let's just say we beat Princeton. So now there's maybe talk of Princeton getting an at-large bid. So now maybe there's an opportunity to get a second team in because of our conference tournament. Who knows? I think it's a little bit harder to do it without a conference tournament. With a conference tournament, I think that adds to our ability to do that. And I certainly think that our league is very good and we could play on a national level. And because of the way games are scheduled and meaning that most of our big-time games are on the road, no one's really coming to our gym, that we're always playing the road games, makes it much more difficult for us to be successful, and it skews the win-loss record. So, hopefully, with our conference tournament and with people seeing what we've done in the past, that our league is given more credit than they have in the past.
Wrapping up with James Jones, the head coach of Yale right now, coming off their season, and we were covering the NCAA tournament here in Buffalo. This is the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920, the Jersey. One of the teams that we were able to see last night was the defending national champion in Villanova, but it was a one-point game at halftime, Coach, and Jay Wright wasn't very happy with this team's effort after the game. You think that's a little bit of a wake-up call, what happened yesterday for Villanova before they get ready for Wisconsin?
Well, listen, I watched the game. I don't know. I'm not the coach of Villanova. I haven't seen them play a lot. I do know that when you're defending national champion, you go into that first game, sometimes you can be a little tight. Sometimes nerves are holding you back from doing all that you can. So, it's one of those things that are fortunate for Villanova, and I think they have an opportunity to win it again this year. Fortunately for them, they're talented enough to overcome those problems and move on to the second round. And, he's coached that team all year long, so I suspect that they'll be getting back to the brand of basketball he's familiar with this next game and beyond.
Is it painful for you a little bit to watch the NCAA tournament knowing that you were in it a year ago and now not in it this time around?
Well, it's not painful in the sense that, we went into the year with a team that was very young. We won 18 games. We went to the conference final. And our best player, as I said, Makai Mason, didn't play. So, to think that we were going to be good enough to get back there was a little bit far-fetched. But the fact that we were able to get 20 minutes from it, makes it a little bit difficult to do it. But I'm such a basketball fan, a basketball junkie. I just love this time of year, whether we're in it or not. I just love watching college basketball and watching how the drama plays out.
You got a nice big palatial setup watching these games, Coach?
I have a nice big screen smart television in my home, and I'm checking it out. And if I need be, I can watch some of it on my computer at the same time. But I'm good at watching one at a time.
What are you eating yesterday when you're watching the games?
I have this tradition when we don't make the tournament. I take my staff over to a place called Archie Moore's, and I have a few Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo wings.
I'm in Buffalo right now, so I had some great wings last night at this place called Duff's. But before we let you run, I got two more for you as we're talking to James Jones, the head coach of Yale. Give me some other impressions of the games that you were watching yesterday. Who really stood out to you?
Well, let me think about that for a second. There's nothing in terms of anybody really standing out at what I've seen so far, other than the fact that a parity around the games. I look at the games, and I'm looking at how closely they're played and how tight they are. And, I saw the Oklahoma State game earlier today. There are very few games, a Michigan game. So Michigan and Oklahoma State, it's just really pleases me to watch the games and see how close they are and competitive and watching a good basketball game, because no one really wants to see a blowout.
And finally, we saw a close competitive game today between Seton Hall and Arkansas, but a very controversial finish with the flagrant foul. Did you get a chance to see that? And I'd have to imagine if you were coaching, you'd be disagreeing with the flagrant foul call, right?
Well, you know what? I did not see that game. I actually had a young man on campus today, and I was walking him around, so I missed a little bit of this afternoon. We do have to work through this time. I can't sit and watch TV all day. But so I was walking a young man around campus when that game was on. I'm going to have to go back and watch the replay. But I've heard about it. I look forward to seeing how it transpired.
No problem, Coach. Once again, congratulations on a fun season, and we look forward to seeing you come to Jadwin Gymnasium next year, and we'll be seeing you a few times up against Princeton. We appreciate it.
You guys take care.
There's the head coach of Yale, and James Jones joining us on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. We got some finals, and we have some blowouts as well. North Carolina up on number 16 seed Texas Southern, 61-29. Rhode Island at the half. We're hitting on an upset, baby. I gave you a little bit of an upset earlier today, and I told you Rhode Island was going to win the game. Now, I could be patting myself on the back a little prematurely because this is a Rhode Island team that it's only at the half, but they are now up 33-26 over Creighton, who's 25-9 on the year. Oregon has gone final. Their victory over Iona, 93-77. Louisville and Jacksonville State, that game is final, 78-63. Advantage Patino's squad. And how about this? Another heartbreaking loss for SMU in the NCAA tournament. The former Cinderella darling of a head coach, Andy Einfeld, got a victory today over SMU, 66-65. And SMU goes home once again. Larry Brown no longer there. Tim Jankovich has been on that staff, and they get their hearts ripped out again with a 1-point loss. So I have another Sweet 16 out of my bracket. Are you kidding me? But we still have the Final Four available. Heck, we're not even past round one. If I don't still have the Final Four available, man, I got to start looking for a new job. Maybe Baylor's final, 91-73 over New Mexico State. Michigan, they squeak out a 1-point victory over Oklahoma State. Seton Hall, they lose on a controversial call, 77-71. And then you got more games coming up tonight. This is the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. Time right now is 5:34. And what we'll do right now is we'll take a quick break. When we get back, there's a little bit of a food bracket circulating the web. I'll react to that, and Rex Ryan has a new job. We'll tell you about that next on the Zach Gelb Show.